Son of a gun. I didn't realize I'd be able to go live with 30 subscribers, but I guess I can. So I know nobody's tuned in now, and that's okay. If you can catch this later, that would be great. The reason I'm going to give this story, and it's just something that I think everybody's going to need to hear, because I'm getting way too many people asking questions on what happened to Nate, where is he, what's going on. And if you're familiar with who Nathan is, which was the leader of the LSM militia, which is Liberty State Militia, he actually went to Boston as security on a free speech rally well over a year ago now. He's been in jail for the last year. And now there's a petition online right now to have him pardoned, and I really would like everybody to go to that petition. You go to my regular Facebook page. You'll see in the link or in the feed 2 articles down about Nathan, and it shows him in handcuffs. But at the very bottom, there is a petition that you can join and sign. We have almost 1,500 people that have signed it already. We need to get as many people as we can and see if we can get him pardoned. Now, he is due for release in October, but we would rather have him pardoned, because at this point in time, for a law-abiding citizen with a concealed carry permit to be arrested and incarcerated for 18 months for carrying a weapon, it goes directly against our constitutional rights. And we already know in Marbury versus Madison that any law that is that goes directly against the Constitution is a law that cannot be or should not be enforced. Although it was enforced, and he ended up getting 18 months for a small firearm that he was carrying concealed, even though he has a concealed carry permit in New York. He was in Boston, so he was out of his jurisdiction. But Boston shouldn't be enforcing that law to begin with, being that it's against the Constitution. Here's the deal: he didn't brandish the gun, he didn't show it. He voluntarily surrendered his body armor. He went as security for a free speech rally, to be security for both the left and the right, to both have a platform to speak their mind, to say what they were going to say. And the police came to him and said that he was intimidating people because he was wearing body armor for his own protection. So what's going on, Sean? So with that, he's wearing body armor to protect himself. They said he was an intimidating factor because of this. So voluntarily, he surrendered the body armor. They inventoried it, bagged it. No weapon was found. The rally got out of hand. If you don't remember what happened in Boston, patriots were chased off the stage. They actually had to get into police vans and get driven to a different part of town and released, because the Antifa mob that was there was bussed in and was attacking. I mean, they were very much ready to do bodily harm to the very few people on the right that went to speak. So when the rally ends, he goes to the police station to pick up his personal possession that they had taken away and bagged. And when he got there, at that point in time, they arrested him because they conducted a second inventory while he was not present. And that, again, is against his constitutional rights. That was he shouldn't have had that done. They cannot, he didn't give them permission to do so. And they couldn't do it with him not present, but they did. And because of this, he was arrested and he was in jail for quite a few days before we could get him out. After which time he continued to speak, and he continued to fight, and he honestly had high hopes of beating this case, as we all figured he would, because it was strictly unconstitutional with an illegal search and seizure on his property. The judge decided not to take that into consideration and found him as a threat. Now, again, this is Nathan Mizrahi, the leader of the Liberty State Militia, who has no criminal record at the time, nothing. But you know what? They make an example of him and throw him in jail for 18 months. I try to pump it up as often as I can. People, this guy needs our help. He needs to hear from us. We need to continue to speak, and we need to continue to reach out to him and talk to him. And you know, I thank everybody that does, but you got to understand that in the year to year and a half prior to his conviction, the governor of New York then blackballed him from getting a job in New York. And again, he was basically unable to support his family. And Holly at the time was going through nursing school, and they pretty much had to sell everything in their house just to keep the very few possessions they had. So they were very much dependent on what we, the people, we, the patriots in the community, would do to help them. And now that he's incarcerated, he still needs our help. He doesn't need it for shelter. Obviously, he's going to still be sitting in prison for the next 8 to 10 months. If we can get him out early, we'd love to. But what he does need is some communication. He needs conversation. He needs to make sure that people are still standing up or standing by him. So I started a campaign for people to continue to give him a letter, send him a letter. If you put a $5 money order in there, if you can, to throw into his commissary, and let him know in the letter that you sent it, because he'll never see that money order. It goes, the jail will take it out before he gets it. But if you put it in the letter how much you sent, then they'll make sure that is what's added to his commissary, or he'll know to question them if it's not. The important part is he still stands by everybody out here. He writes me at least monthly and talks to me, and there are several others, I'm sure, because he's got plenty of time to write. Everybody that writes him a letter will also get a letter in return. He does write back. All right. But it's important that we continue to communicate with him, because he was unjustly arrested, and he's just another political prisoner that you never hear anything about. You know, this has happened at the guys at the Bundy Ranch. This happened to the Moyer Refuge. I mean, there's just so many patriots. I mean, Lavoy Finicum died because he stood up for the same reasons that Nate did. And Lavoy Finicum, same way, was shot and killed without a gun. Nate, luckily, that didn't have to happen to him. But it very well could have. Could happen to any one of us to stand up. That's what I want this point to be. If we don't stand for each other, you guys all know the old poem. You know, I wasn't a Jew, so I didn't stand up for them. You know, but when they came for me, there was nobody left to stand up for me. That's why we got to stand up for them. That's what we need to do, and just support each other. So what I'm going to do, if I can keep my dog quiet, is I'm just going to put this in here. I just want you guys to, I don't think you'll be able to see his address very clearly on here. So I'm going to put it into the thread so that you can send him a letter if you'd like, and just let him know what you're thinking about him. Even if you don't know him, just send him something that tells him that, you know, you stand by him, that he's a political prisoner that never should have been arrested. And we all need to just remember who we are in this patriot movement. We may all be individuals, but together we can be very strong. So I want us to remember that. Remain an individual, but be part of the greater group. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put his information on how to get a letter to him in the thread, and after that, we can see if we can keep this campaign going on both YouTube and Facebook. So if you are watching, and in this case, it looks like I got 3 people in here watching right now. Be looking for that information in the thread. I'll make sure I get it in there. Again, his name is Nathan Mizrahi. He is the leader of the Liberty State Militia, and again, unjustly sitting in prison right now, that any one of us could have had the same situation happen. So I'll talk to you guys soon. I just wanted to make sure. I wasn't even sure I could get this thing to go live. So this was more of a test, but I did want to make sure that I got this message out to you guys. We'll talk to you soon.